Hi, my name is Barry Doyle. I'm a lawyer in Chicago. I'm here today to talk about 5 questions you should be asking yourself if you're thinking about handling your own workers' compensation case. An answer to no to any one of these questions means that it's time for you to start thinking seriously about getting help from a well-qualified lawyer. The company and their insurance company are going to be able to answer yes to each and every one of these in a heartbeat. And if you're going to be handling your case with an answer of no to any one of these questions, it means that you're not going to be in a fair fight and you could be costing yourselves thousands of dollars in benefits that you're entitled to otherwise. If you haven't been, I'd like you to hit like and hit share. So let's dive into the 5 questions that you should be asking yourself if you are thinking about handling your own workers' compensation case. Question number 1, do you know what the legal framework is for resolving a workers' compensation case? Now, workers' compensation is an issue of state law. It's a statute. There's a Workers' Compensation Act, which sets out how workers' compensation cases get resolved, how your rights are determined, how the rights of the company are determined. And if you don't know what that legal framework is, essentially you're playing a game without knowing what the rules are. Now, the company will have lawyers, they'll have an insurance company behind them, and they know the Workers' Compensation Act inside and out. And if you're playing this game without knowing what the rules are, you're at risk of being taken advantage of and not being able to assert the rights that you have under the Workers' Compensation Act. Both sides have rights. You just need to know what yours are, and if you don't know what that legal framework is, you can't assert those rights. Question number 2, do you know the procedures by which workers' compensation cases are resolved? There's the actual legal framework. In other words, what your rights are, what your responsibilities are, what the company's rights and responsibilities are. But with each and every type of a court case, there are procedures. And if you don't know what those procedures are, it's like not knowing how to play the game. There are technical things that can do a case in if you don't know how to handle those technical aspects of the case. And that's the kind of thing that can put your rights to get your benefits at risk and can create a lot of difficulty and problems for you. Question number 3, do you have the time, ability, and resources to attend any court hearings that might be held in connection with your workers' compensation case? Now, workers' comp, technically, it's not held in a court. It's not in the court system itself. There's an administrative agency called the Workers' Compensation Commission, but there's still things that you have to attend. And if you're not able to attend these things, then things can happen in your absence that can adversely affect what your rights are under the Workers' Compensation Act and can result in the loss of benefits to you. If you don't have the time, ability, resources, energy, whatever the issue is to actually attend the court hearings that are going to be held in connection with your workers' compensation case, you're putting your case at risk. Question number 4, have you obtained your medical records, reviewed them, and do you understand the significance of the information that's in them? Now, workers' comp is a no-fault system, and how an accident happens tends to not matter a whole lot in terms of the merits of what type of compensation you're able to receive, but the issue of how badly you were hurt, how you're doing in terms of recovering from your injuries, and the causal relationship between the injuries that you're claiming and your work-related accident are key issues in every workers' compensation case. And if you don't understand the technical nuts and bolts of what's in your medical records and the significance of those medical records with regard to your workers' compensation case, the folks from the insurance company are going to be having one discussion that you're not going to be able to participate in a meaningful kind of way because you don't understand the significance of what's in those medical records and how they can impact your rights. So you need to know what your doctors are saying about you, not just what they're telling you to your face, but what's in your records. And there may be things in your records that your doctor doesn't think are very significant, but the insurance company is going to take a look at it and they're going to grab onto that like a dog with a meaty bone and try and use that as a means for denying you the benefits that you have coming to you. Last question that you need to be asking yourself is, do you know how cases are evaluated for fair settlement value and what the framework is for doing that? At the end of your case, you're entitled to get a settlement. And the settlement is going to be based to some extent on what your average weekly wage is and upon the seriousness of your injury. Now, if you don't understand that basic framework of how cases are evaluated for settlement, then essentially when it comes time for discussing a settlement, you're going to be flying blind. The adjuster will call you up and say, hey, what's it going to take to settle the case? And if you don't understand that framework, you're just going to be kind of guessing. And guessing when potentially thousands of dollars are at stake is a bad idea. I call this flying blind, and it never ends well. Let's just assume for a minute that the fair settlement value of your workers' compensation case is $15,000. How are you going to know that $15,000 is the right number unless you understand that framework? Now, you could just kind of blindly happen on saying $15,000 is what I'd like to settle the case, and you tell them that, and the thing is they'll never agree to it, even if that's the right number. They'll say, well, would you take 10? And then maybe you end up settling the case at $11,000. But it's just as likely that what's going to happen is that $15,000 is the right number, and you'll say, I'd like to settle my case for 10. And as much as they should just jump on a low number like that, they'll still say, would you take 7? And you end up settling your case for $8,000, and you're shorting yourself almost half of what you're entitled to. Or the flip side is that $15,000 is the right number, and you tell them, I'd like $50,000. A, that'll never ever happen, and B, it's just as likely that you'll get your case referred to the fraud unit, where they're going to really kind of go after you tooth and nail to avoid paying you any kind of a meaningful settlement, in which case you're looking at a long delay in the resolution of your case, and you're looking at in all likelihood, a much lower settlement figure. So those are the 5 questions you need to be able to ask yourself. And if the answer to any of these questions is no, then it's time for you to start thinking about getting a lawyer. To recap, the 5 questions. Question number 1, do you know the legal framework for resolving a workers' compensation case? Second question, do you know the procedures for resolving a workers' compensation case? In other words, the technical steps that need to be taken to move your case from beginning to end through the workers' compensation system. Question number 3, do you have the ability to attend any kind of court hearings that have to be held in connection with your workers' compensation case? Number 4, have you obtained and reviewed your medical records, and do you understand the significance of what's in your medical records themselves? And finally, do you understand how to evaluate your case for a fair settlement value? If the answer to no is no to any one of these questions, it's time to start thinking about getting a well-qualified lawyer, because I can tell you that the company and their insurance company can answer yes to each and every one of these questions in a heartbeat. In terms of getting a lawyer, all it takes is calling us. You can call us at 312-263-1080. You can reach out to us in a private message through Facebook, or visit our website, www.rightsofinjuredtruckers.com, and fill in a contact form, and someone will be in touch with you directly. If you think that this information has been helpful, hit like, hit share, and make sure that this information is something that gets shared in your network, because even if it's not helpful to you immediately, it's good information for other drivers to have so that they can use it if they need it. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Bye.